You get asked questions for 5 minutes and you don't get time to answer. It's not a hearing.
I think you said clown
Like
show
a dunk
before.
tank? What is this?
That's Marco Rubio getting fed up with Sydney Kamlager-Dove, who kept throwing one accusation after another, and he shut her down so effectively that she left the chamber not long after. So if you enjoy content that cuts through the noise, hit that subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
Allow you to respond. I'm setting this up because it looks unseemly. That essentially you are taking Venezuelan oil money and sending it through a network of campaign donors, corrupt politicians,
That's
lobbyists, and we can't get any documentation on that. We don't have any receipts. So the question is anyone from the administration, directly or indirectly, benefiting from the contracts being doled out in Venezuela?
Is this where I get to answer?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Number one is the number of people. Mauricio is one of many people that are involved in what's happening in Venezuela. There's not a day that goes by that we don't have someone who's interested in what's happening in Venezuela for a variety of reasons. But by the way, not involved in Venezuela. I am not knowledgeable or know of any financial links he has to anybody in Venezuela.
So I'm going to reclaim my time, Mr. Secretary, but I'm glad that you said that. Because you have said these things, you have shared these talking points before.
They're not talking points, they're the truth.
But it is hard to take your word for it when this is the most corrupt administration in American history.
For context, Sydney is basing her entire attack on a single article that the Washington Post recently released, claiming Mauricio Claver-Carone is playing a major role in shaping Venezuela's future despite not holding a role within the Trump administration. But in this piece, they explained everything was based on the claims of more than 10 current and former U.S. officials, people in contact with the Venezuelan government, and other knowledgeable observers who conveniently spoke on the condition of anonymity. So it's more of the anonymous sources trick that we're expected to take at face value, although we have no way to verify. But the way that Kamlager-Dove presented it, you'd think it was the absolute truth. Now, Rubio wasn't going to let that slide without clarification, which led to this intense back and forth.
$8 billion slush fund. And I think that's corruption. The American people think that's corruption. They want to know if you think that's corruption.
Okay. Number two, this goes right to the point of transparency. You're absolutely wrong about the way the money flows. It's pretty straightforward, and I'll share.
So I'm going to have to reclaim my time again because the
what kind of
question about
process is this? They get to ask questions and you don't get to answer?
It's my time. The question
I don't know
about
about you. When
corruption
is it my
really
time?
important.
So why am I here if I don't get to answer your questions or your
I'm
defamatory statements?
reclaiming my time,
Reclaim.
Mr.
I want
Chair.
you to, but I want to reclaim. Well, do I get time? Because you make these defamatory statements and no one can talk here.
If you can't call out corruption in this country, then how can you call it out in another
Well, I can't say anything because you won't let me speak.
Question. It is about credibility and your credibility meter is on empty right now.
These guys just get to talk and I don't get to answer?
Who determines the barrels of oil that get sold? How many of them?
But you won't let me answer your question. I have an answer for your question.
Where is it going?
Oh, I get it. They have to use their time for me to answer your question.
The onus is on you to prove that there is no corruption happening.
Well, how do I prove it if you don't let me talk?
We finally have someone who is calling out these kinds of theatrics. Jasmine Crockett, she used to do something pretty similar whenever administration officials would show up to testify. But now that she's lost her primary, Sydney seems to be aspiring to step into that role. What's absurd is that the answers she was demanding, they weren't all that complicated, and Rubio eventually got the opportunity to explain them, but not before having to sit through another round of grandstanding and political theater. We're going to get to all of that right after a quick message from today's sponsor. A few weeks ago, we covered Saga Metals. They're trading as SAGMF in the United States and Saga in Canada. It's a company that's become a regular feature on our channel, but we're revisiting this story sooner than expected because in a very short time, it looks like they've hit another home run. In less than 6 months, they've changed the scale of the company. Less than 48 hours ago, Saga announced a 100% drill success rate across all 57 drill holes, achieving it ahead of schedule. But that's only part of the story. Saga also brought in $10 million through a financing round focused entirely on drilling, adding major capital to an already aggressive program. They strengthened their position further with a titanium acquisition secured from under Rio Tinto. They're a global mining giant worth over $100 billion, and that was in the same district as the largest titanium mine on the planet. Then came the Wolverine project, expanding Saga's footprint inside one of the region's most important mineral belts. So why is this happening so fast? Well, simple titanium and critical minerals have become a national priority. Between Project Vault, executive orders, and billions of dollars in government support, Washington is aggressively pushing to secure domestic supply chains. Even the State Department is now coordinating with 55 foreign ministers on a critical mineral strategy. Saga is positioning itself directly where policy, capital, and defense demand are all moving. And so far, they've over-delivered in the first half of 2026. So, if you want to learn more about their story, check out the link in the description. Now, back to the video.
I am talking about your credibility and evidence, not your talking points, because talking points are never a replacement for transparency
I agree,
and
but that's what you're saying. You're saying talking
And
points
we
without an
have
answer.
we are 5 months into this and no audits. Zero visibility into the
100%
contracts that are
false.
awarded.
100%
Zero
false.
Unfortunately,
transparency about where the
Representative
money
Times
is
expired.
going.
Representative Salazar is recognized.
Yes, and giving contracts with no transparency
Can I
is
borrow your
exactly
time
the
to
reason
answer?
why you shut down USAID. So practice what you preach. I yield my
Oh,
time.
she gets to scream now too?
Chairman,
Scream
can
and
we
shout.
take down her words?
I'll give you some time. I'll give
Yeah.
you some of my time. Let me just
Okay.
just
Oh God,
change
what
the
kind of thing
energy.
is this? What is this? You get asked questions for 5 minutes and you don't get time to answer. It's not a hearing.
I think you said clown
Like
show
a dunk
before.
tank?
I
What
don't,
is
I don't
this?
have to tell you. I don't. I'll
I've
give
even
you
used
time.
their time. How can I answer the question? They don't even give me time. I've had to use their time to answer your questions.
Yes, in my
Why is she
community,
leaving? I'm
so-
going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, she's go. Okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
If we take just one part of what she said, the oil contracts, for example, very quick Google search shows Venezuela is giving those out to a mix of international companies, including Shell, BP, and even US firms like Chevron, with ExxonMobil expected to be involved as well. So, she was acting outraged over something she didn't seem to have a basic understanding of. But eventually, Representative Salazar gave Rubio some of her time to respond, and his explanation was so straightforward that Sydney could have saved everyone a lot of time if she had simply let the guy answer the question in the first place.
So let me first say about the oil stuff, which is a bunch. I don't even remember half the stuff that was being screamed at me because most of it, not entirely, is false. Here's what happens: when there are sales of oil from Venezuela, they used to, sell it at a discount because of sanctions, and they had to do all kinds of evasive matters. Now they're able to sell it at market price to great benefit to the Venezuelan people. That money and those proceeds are deposited in a treasury blocked account at Citibank. That account, by the way, is audited by KPMG. KPMG has been hired and paid by the Venezuelan government out of those funds to audit every single expenditure. There is a list that's been agreed to by both sides, the Venezuelan side and the US side, on what the allowable expenditures are for. So, for example, they've used 250.
I need to go to 3 other countries, so I'm not sure what the chairman wants to do, but I need to. I understand that you're answering her question.
Oh, but this is but it's tied to your point because
All right.
they'll be able to do the other ones quickly thereafter. Again, I know this is outrageous because I have to use your time to answer
That's
questions. when
correct,
she
but I
leaves.
need to serve the community. I need to
Okay.
ask you about other countries. So
Well,
then
bottom
tell me.
line is the money that's spent in Venezuela is audited by KPMG. It only goes to certain determined points, and it doesn't go to the individual benefit of anybody.
Even if you don't take Rubio at his word, what he said is something pretty well documented. After Maduro was captured by the Delta Force, a US-controlled account was set up in Qatar, which held the revenue generated from Venezuelan oil sales. 1 month later, CNBC quoted the Energy Secretary saying, "Now we have an account at the US Treasury. The money won't go to Qatar anymore." The point is, everything I mentioned is easily searchable information, especially for someone looking to hold administration officials accountable. But instead of digging into these simple facts, Sydney chose to build her case around a report heavily reliant on anonymous sources, turning the hearing into this, I guess, pure performance. At some point, these theatrics have to stop because Congress has real oversight responsibilities. Have we forgot that? And we are watching the authority get wasted. This is beyond ridiculous.